Question 1. A project manager is defining the project's scope and creating the work breakdown structure, WBS. Which of the following processes is the project manager currently performing? A. Plan scope management. B. Collect requirements. C. Define scope. D. Create WBS. Answer: D. Create WBS. The Create WBS process is where the project scope statement is decomposed into smaller, more manageable components, making it easier to define, plan, and execute the work. While defining scope determines what is included and excluded from the project, creating the WBS is the specific act of breaking down that defined scope into a hierarchical structure of deliverables. For instance, if the project is building a house, the WBS would break it down into major phases like foundation, framing, roofing, and then further into specific tasks under each. Always remember that the WBS represents the total scope of work required to complete the project, providing a foundational element for subsequent planning. Question 2. During which project management process group is the project charter typically created and formally authorized? A. Planning. B. Initiating. C. Executing. D. Closing. Answer: B. Initiating. The project charter is formally developed and approved during the initiating process group. This crucial document formally authorizes the existence of a project and gives the project manager the authority to apply organizational resources to project activities. For example, a company decides to develop a new software application, and before any detailed planning begins, a project charter is signed by a sponsor to formally kick off the effort and appoint the project manager. Recognizing the project charter as the formal launch document helps solidify understanding of the initial steps in any project. Question 3. What is the primary purpose of a project management plan? A. To document the project's historical information and lessons learned. B. To serve as a baseline for measuring project performance. C. To guide the execution, monitoring, and control of the project. D. To formally close out the project and release team members. Answer: C. To guide the execution, monitoring, and control of the project. The project management plan is a comprehensive document that defines how the project will be executed, monitored, controlled, and closed. It integrates all subsidiary plans and baselines, providing a single, approved source for how the project will be managed from start to finish. For example, a construction project's management plan would detail everything from how resources are acquired to how changes are managed, ensuring everyone follows the same blueprint. Think of the project management plan as the project's overarching strategy, ensuring alignment and coherence across all activities. Question 4. A project team is working in an agile environment. Which of the following roles is primarily responsible for maximizing the value of the product resulting from the work of the development team? A. Scrum Master. B. Project Manager. C. Product Owner. D. Stakeholder. Answer: C. Product Owner. In an agile environment, specifically Scrum, the product owner is the role primarily responsible for maximizing the value of the product. This involves clearly articulating product backlog items, ordering them to best achieve goals and missions, and ensuring the backlog is visible and understood. For instance, if a software team is building an app, the product owner decides which features are most important for users and in what order they should be developed. Understanding the product owner's accountability for product value is key to grasping agile roles. Question 5. Which document provides the project manager with the authority to apply organizational resources to project activities? A. Project Management Plan. B. Business Case. C. Project Charter. D. Scope Statement. Answer: C. Project Charter. The project charter is the document that formally authorizes the existence of a project and provides the project manager with the authority to apply organizational resources to project activities. It essentially marks the official start of the project and assigns the project manager their role and responsibilities. For example, without a signed project charter, a project manager wouldn't have the authority to request a budget or assign team members. This document is crucial because it gives the project manager the power to lead and manage the project effectively. Question 6. A project manager is conducting a meeting to identify and analyze potential risks to the project. Which project management process is being performed? A. Plan risk management. B. Identify risks. C. Perform quantitative risk analysis. D. Plan risk responses. Answer: B. Identify risks. The identify risks process involves determining which risks might affect the project and documenting their characteristics. This is a crucial step where potential threats and opportunities are systematically identified, often through brainstorming, expert judgment, and historical data analysis. For example, a team building a new bridge might identify risks like bad weather, material delays, or unforeseen ground conditions during this phase. Understanding that this process is about finding and listing all possible risks is fundamental to effective risk management. Question 7. What is the purpose of the work breakdown structure, WBS? A. To list all project activities in chronological order. B. To define the project's budget and cost estimates. C. To hierarchically decompose the total scope of work to be carried out by the project team. D. To identify key stakeholders and their influence. Answer: C. To hierarchically decompose the total scope of work to be carried out by the project team. The work breakdown structure, WBS, is a hierarchical decomposition of the total scope of work to be carried out by the project team to accomplish project objectives and create the required deliverables. It breaks down the project work into smaller, more manageable components, making it easier to assign responsibilities and estimate efforts. For instance, building a car might be broken down into engine assembly, chassis, and interior, which are further decomposed into specific tasks. The WBS is fundamental because it provides a clear, organized view of all project deliverables. Question 8. In which project management process group is the majority of the project's budget spent? A. Planning. B. Initiating. C. Executing. D. Monitoring and controlling. Answer: C. Executing. The executing process group is where the work defined in the project management plan is performed to meet project objectives. This is typically where the largest portion of the project's budget is spent, as resources are actively engaged in carrying out tasks, producing deliverables, and consuming materials. For example, in a construction project, the actual building, material purchases, and labor costs are incurred during execution. Remember, this is the doing phase where plans are put into action and the project's core deliverables are created. Question 9. Which tool or technique is commonly used to resolve conflicts within a project team by finding solutions that bring the most important aspects of the conflicting parties into a win-win outcome? A. Forcing. B. Compromising. C. Collaborating/problem solving. D. Smoothing. Answer: C. Collaborating/problem solving. Collaborating or problem solving is a conflict resolution technique that involves incorporating multiple viewpoints and insights from different perspectives to arrive at a consensus and commitment. It aims to achieve a win-win situation where both parties feel their concerns have been addressed, leading to the best solution for the project. For example, if two team members disagree on the best technical approach, collaborating would involve them discussing the pros and cons of both ideas to find a superior, combined solution. This approach builds trust and leads to more sustainable solutions. Question 10. A project manager is reviewing stakeholder engagement and ensuring that the needs of various stakeholders are being met. This activity falls under which knowledge area? A. Project communications management. B. Project resource management. C. Project risk management. D. Project stakeholder management. Answer: D. Project stakeholder management. Project stakeholder management focuses on identifying all people or organizations impacted by the project, analyzing their expectations and impact on the project, and developing appropriate strategies for effectively engaging them in project decisions and execution. Ensuring their needs are met is a core part of this, as engaged stakeholders are critical to project success. For example, if a new software impacts the sales team, stakeholder management involves understanding their needs and ensuring the new system integrates smoothly with their workflow. Effectively managing stakeholders is vital for gaining support and mitigating potential resistance. Question 11. What is the primary output of the plan quality management process? A. Quality metrics. B. Quality control measurements. C. Quality management plan. D. Verified deliverables. Answer: C. Quality management plan. The primary output of the plan quality management process is the quality management plan. This plan describes how the project management team will implement the performing organization's quality policy and how the project will achieve its quality objectives. For example, in a software development project, the quality management plan would outline testing procedures, defect tracking methods, and acceptable performance metrics. This plan is crucial because it sets the guidelines for ensuring that the project's deliverables meet the required standards. Question 12. Which document defines the boundaries of the project and what is and is not included in the project? A. Requirements documentation. B. Scope statement. C. Work breakdown structure, WBS. D. Project charter. Answer: B. Scope statement. The scope statement is a detailed description of the project and the product, including the project deliverables and the work required to create them. It explicitly defines what is included in the project and, just as importantly, what is excluded, serving as a boundary for the project work. For instance, if a company is building a new website, the scope statement would detail features to be included like user login and payment processing, and might explicitly exclude features like mobile app development. Understanding the scope statement is crucial for preventing scope creep and ensuring everyone has a clear understanding of the project's boundaries. Question 13. Which of the following is an example of an organizational process asset, OPA? A. Enterprise environmental factors. B. Project team members' skills. C. Lessons learned repository. D. Market conditions. Answer: C. Lessons learned repository. Organizational process assets, OPAs, are plans, processes, policies, procedures, and knowledge bases specific to and used by the performing organization. These assets provide valuable historical information and insights that can improve the efficiency and effectiveness of current and future projects. A lessons learned repository is a perfect example, as it contains knowledge gained from previous projects, like best practices or common pitfalls. In contrast, enterprise environmental factors, EFs, are external or internal conditions that influence, constrain, or direct a project. Question 14. What is the primary purpose of a lessons learned document? A. To ensure project deliverables meet quality standards. B. To formally close out a project and release resources. C. To capture knowledge gained from a project for future use. D. To report project progress to stakeholders. Answer: C. To capture knowledge gained from a project for future use. The primary purpose of a lessons learned document is to capture the knowledge gained throughout a project's lifecycle, including what went well, what could have been done better, and recommendations for future projects. This information is a valuable organizational process asset that helps improve future project performance and avoid repeating mistakes. For example, after completing a complex software upgrade, documenting the unexpected technical challenges and their solutions can help future upgrade projects run more smoothly. Make it a habit to always reflect on project experiences to foster continuous improvement. Question 15. A project manager is identifying all individuals or organizations who are actively involved in the project or whose interests may be positively or negatively affected by the project. Which process is this? A. Plan stakeholder engagement. B. Identify stakeholders. C. Manage stakeholder engagement. D. Monitor stakeholder engagement. Answer: B. Identify stakeholders. The Identify Stakeholders process is the initial step in project stakeholder management, where all potential stakeholders are identified. This involves determining their interests, influence, and impact on the project, whether positive or negative. For instance, in a new product development project, stakeholders might include customers, suppliers, internal departments like marketing and finance, and even regulatory bodies. Properly identifying all relevant stakeholders early on is crucial for effective engagement and project success. Question 16. In an Agile context, what is a sprint review? A. A meeting where the team plans the work for the upcoming sprint. B. A meeting for the development team to inspect itself and create a plan for improvements. C. A meeting where the Scrum team and stakeholders collaborate on what was done in the sprint. D. A daily meeting for the development team to synchronize activities. Answer: C. A meeting where the Scrum team and stakeholders collaborate on what was done in the sprint. A sprint review is a formal meeting held at the end of each sprint where the Scrum team and stakeholders inspect the increment and adapt the product backlog if needed. It's an informal session where the development team demonstrates the work done, and the product owner discusses the backlog, gathering feedback for future sprints. For example, after a 2-week sprint, a software team would demonstrate the newly developed features to users and gather their opinions. This collaboration ensures the product is evolving in the right direction and maximizes transparency. Question 17. Which of the following is typically not considered an enterprise environmental factor, EEF? A. Organizational culture and structure. B. Government regulations. C. Company internal policies. D. Lessons learned repository. Answer: D. Lessons learned repository. Enterprise environmental factors, EFs, are conditions, not under the direct control of the project team, that influence, constrain, or direct the project. Examples include organizational culture, government regulations, market conditions, and infrastructure. A lessons learned repository, on the other hand, is an organizational process asset, OPA, which is an internal asset of the organization that can be used by the project. Remember, EFs are influences on the project, while OPAs are assets used by the project. Question 18. What is the main purpose of the Verify Scope process? A. To formally accept completed project deliverables. B. To ensure all project work is completed as per the plan. C. To control changes to the project scope. D. To decompose the project into smaller work packages. Answer: A. To formally accept completed project deliverables. The Verify Scope process is concerned with obtaining formal acceptance of the completed project deliverables by the customer or sponsor. It involves reviewing the deliverables with the customer to ensure they are acceptable and meet the specified requirements. For instance, after building a new website, the client would review and formally approve the site's functionality and design during this process. This formal acceptance is crucial as it confirms that the product or service meets the stakeholders' expectations, moving the project closer to completion. Question 19. A project manager is using a change control board, CCB, to review and approve or reject changes to the project. This activity is part of which process? A. Direct and manage project work. B. Perform integrated change control. C. Monitor and control project work. D. Plan scope management. Answer: B. Perform integrated change control. The Perform integrated change control process is where all change requests are reviewed and approved, deferred, or rejected. This process ensures that changes are only implemented after being properly assessed for their impact on the project's objectives and scope. A Change Control Board, CCB, is a key tool for this, as it is a formal group responsible for reviewing, evaluating, approving, delaying, or rejecting changes. Always remember that managing changes is crucial for keeping the project aligned with its goals and preventing uncontrolled scope creep. Question 20. What is a key characteristic of the projectized organizational structure? A. Project managers have little authority. B. Team members report to functional managers for project work. C. The project manager has full authority and resources are dedicated to the project. D. Resources are shared between multiple projects and functional departments. Answer: C. The project manager has full authority and resources are dedicated to the project. In a projectized organizational structure, the project manager has high autonomy and authority, and most of the organization's resources are organized around projects. Team members are typically co-located and report directly to the project manager for the duration of the project, often being released when the project concludes. For example, a construction company that forms a dedicated team for each new building project, with the project manager leading all aspects, operates in a projectized structure. This structure is known for its clear authority lines and efficiency in delivering projects, though it can lead to resource duplication across multiple projects. Question 21. Which knowledge area involves decisions about acquiring products, services, or results from outside the project team? A. Project resource management. B. Project procurement management. C. Project cost management. D. Project communications management. Answer: B. Project procurement management. Project procurement management includes the processes necessary to purchase or acquire products, services, or results needed from outside the project team. This involves managing contracts, agreements, and relationships with external vendors or suppliers. For instance, if a software development project needs a specialized testing tool, the procurement management processes would cover how that tool is sourced, purchased, and managed. Remember, procurement is all about obtaining external resources to meet project needs. Question 22. What is the primary purpose of a Gantt chart in project management? A. To show the hierarchical breakdown of project deliverables. B. To illustrate project activities against a timeline. C. To identify the critical path of the project. D. To depict stakeholder influence and interest. Answer: B. To illustrate project activities against a timeline. A Gantt chart is a visual tool used to display the timeline for a project, showing the start and end dates of various activities, their dependencies, and overall progress. It provides a clear, easy-to-understand representation of the project schedule, making it simple to track progress. For example, a Gantt chart for a marketing campaign would show when each advertisement design, content creation, and media booking task is scheduled to begin and end. This chart helps project managers and teams visualize the entire project schedule at a glance. Question 23. A project manager is determining the resources, people, equipment, materials, needed for each project activity. Which process is being performed? A. Estimate activity durations. B. Develop schedule. C. Estimate activity resources. D. Acquire resources. Answer: C. Estimate activity resources. The estimate activity resources process involves estimating the type and quantities of material, human resources, equipment, and supplies required to perform each project activity. This step is crucial for developing accurate cost and duration estimates later. For example, to build a wall, you would estimate the number of bricks, amount of mortar, the type of tools, and the number of masons needed. Properly estimating resources ensures that the project has what it needs to succeed, avoiding shortages or overruns. Question 24. What is the main objective of the close project or phase process? A. To perform quality control on all deliverables. B. To obtain formal acceptance of the project deliverables. C. To formally complete the project or phase and release resources. D. To develop the project management plan. Answer: C. To formally complete the project or phase and release resources. The main objective of the close project or phase process is to finalize all activities across all project management process groups to formally complete the project or phase, or to cancel an uncompleted project. This involves gaining final acceptance of the product, service, or result, completing all contractual obligations, and releasing project resources. For example, after a software deployment, this process would include obtaining final sign-off from the client, closing all vendor contracts, and disbanding the project team. This formal closure ensures that all administrative loose ends are tied up and organizational assets are updated. Question 25. Which type of Agile meeting is held daily to allow the development team to synchronize activities and plan for the next 24 hours? A. Sprint review. B. Sprint retrospective. C. Daily Scrum. D. Sprint planning. Answer: C. Daily Scrum. The Daily Scrum is a short, daily meeting for the development team to synchronize activities and create a plan for the next 24 hours. During this meeting, team members typically discuss what they did yesterday, what they will do today, and any impediments they are facing. For instance, a software team will briefly share their progress on coding tasks and highlight any issues blocking their work. The Daily Scrum is essential for transparency and quickly identifying and addressing potential roadblocks, helping the team stay on track towards the sprint goal.